they started to look at me different when I was more outward with my expressions of my blackness.
I thought Trinity would do more as far as diversity.
I just feel like, in a way, Trinity has like kind of stripped my happiness away.
Do you think it's possible to completely eradicate the conflict between Trinity's Black community and the administration?
Yes, if we rehire everybody.
Can you start with your name and how long you've attended Trinity University?
My name is Maya Ewens, and this will be my 4th year attending Trinity University.
My name is Kevin Boudreaux. I'm a senior.
My name is Trinity Lemons, and I'm a junior.
I expected like the usual at first, the small classes and small amount of students, and of course I was expecting like a wide range of like different types of students, but I didn't get that, so they didn't meet that expectation.
Definitely to have a stronger sense of like community, at least when it comes to the Black students. But then again, I didn't look into that particularly as much as I probably should have before coming to the campus, because I don't know, a lot of the friends that I have like at their schools and whatnot, like I just see like these big like groups of Black people, and I was like, oh, I'm sure wherever I go, like it'll be the exact same. But then I got here and I was proven completely wrong.
Mm.
Yeah, I expected, since I came here to play football, I kind of expected that I would be a football player and not really much else. I didn't really go to BSU stuff too often, but as I like grew through Trinity, I kind of got more identities outside of sport, and so I kind of had to start looking for other things to be involved with.
All right, meeting the judge. Before y'all leave, can y'all please help put these back in straight ways?
I went to a PWI, predominantly white institute, for high school, so I was expecting a similar experience for college. To receive a quality education, but be surrounded by mainly white students, and there to be a small African American community. It was exactly as imagined. There were white students whom could care less about other cultures besides their own, and there were opportunities for African American as well as other cultures to share.
I had a roommate. She would say things like, oh, I'm not racist because there were Black people in my high school and they let me touch their hair and stuff. And I was just like, okay, that's not really a justification.
Nothing negative on the part of the school that I can recall, but from the student body, comments like, oh, I thought you were here to just play football, or, oh, you're smart too.
I took a knee during the national anthem. It was like a big deal. And like I felt like my coaches were trying to be helpful, but the way that they were trying to be helpful was really patronizing.
I was able to find support from some professors and faculty of color. For the most part, I found Trinity to be a toxic environment. Certain faculty and administrators claim to champion diversity and inclusion publicly when it benefits them, but go against these beliefs when it matters.
I applied to Howard and I got accepted, and then like after I got accepted, I went and visited, and it was just very unorganized in my opinion. So that was like something that really turned me off from wanting to go to an HBCU. I probably should have applied to more just because I'm sure not all HBCUs are the same, but that was the main reason like I chose not to.
I wish I would have been exposed more because I think that would have been cool to attend there as well. And yeah, it was just mainly around like the administration, how the school is ran, things like that.
There's this quote by Ta-Nehisi Coates in Between the World and Me, where he says, race is the child of racism, not the father. And basically the point of it is that the categories of Black and white, like specifically, are both negative identifications of each other. There's no specific like tangible thing you can point out to say like these are the things that define Black and these are the things that define white and work in all circumstances or even the majority of them, because they were created like to create a, like an us versus them and an in versus out group.
Have you considered transferring because of your experiences at Trinity? And if so, what stopped you from doing so?
I think every Black person that goes here thought about transferring at least at one point.
I thought that it would make me more stronger, like being in a PWI, because I'm uncomfortable, and the fact that I'm uncomfortable forces me to, come out stronger than like being around people who are like me.
I run track and I wanted to compete that spring, but I knew like fully well that I was going to transfer after my freshman year. The main reason I didn't end up transferring is because like the way money worked out, it just like it wasn't financially it didn't financially make sense for me to leave because I had a better scholarship here at Trinity.
So can you start with your name and how long you were a student at Trinity University?
Hi, my name is Kezia Nyarko, and I was at Trinity for 3 years. Yes. I didn't go in at Trinity with any expectations other than just to go through college. I became super active at Trinity, and that made, maybe education was kind of important, but the fact that I was active also made social and structural aspects of Trinity just as equally important.
What prompted you to write your blog post, Why I Chose to Leave Trinity University?
Basically I mainly wrote it so that people would know that I had left Trinity, so that there'd be less conversations about it. But another thing was honestly, I felt out of the spectrum of education, I mainly left because of institutional and structural things. And I thought that was really important to make a point about. Also because I wish somebody would have told me when I was going to Trinity about what it was. Truthfully, people were really nice and it's great, but I need to know what I'm getting into. And so I'm hoping that if I met if somebody reads that before they go to Trinity, one, they're aware of what it is, whether or not they choose to stay at Trinity, just knowing how it is structurally is really important for students retaining it and students just having a better mental health on campus, honestly.
I think for Casey, it was a great thing that she was able to leave Trinity, and I think a lot of the things she said in that article were things that needed to be said, and probably things that only were gonna be said by Casey.
Actually, everything in that article, what she's saying is true about Trinity. And it's not that it makes Trinity bad, but I think that Trinity doesn't acknowledge the fact that it needs to diversify its campus a lot more, especially if it wants to strive a lot more.
I completely understand the narrative because I was much like her. It's crazy to think that almost 10 years later, Black students are experiencing the same feelings I felt.
This was that question. Yeah. So potential to improve, yes. But it only works in what you define as potential to improve.
But basically the Black people on campus have really stepped up into making sure that they're doing what they need to do to make sure that Trinity changes, you know what I mean? And so when I was junior year was where I really saw that staff was really hey, whatever I'm doing, whatever section or department that I'm part of, I'm gonna make sure that students know what I'm doing and students know that I'm gonna advocate for them.
There's no reason why they can't accept more students of different ethnicities. I think they could start by doing that and accepting more students of different social status.
Being able to not only be oh yeah, we've been around for this long, but also we've been a quote unquote diverse university for this long, and also being able to be this is something we're proud about. Our willingness to say anybody of any race, any sexual orientation can come to this school at this point.
There's always room to improve, and Trinity has so much room to improve. But will Trinity take the necessary steps to do that improving? That's TBD.